Hey, you guys, welcome. Welcome to the 1099 CRNA Success Community. This is a community that I set up about 2 years ago now, because I honestly really wanted to convey the message that you do not have to commit yourself to any particular workplace or any particular schedule. And, you know, it's through my 20 some odd years of being a 1099 CRNA that I realized, you know what, I feel so much more empowered as a 1099 CRNA. I feel like I can branch out. Don't try to make any employer extremely happy that I'm doing exactly what they say to do. I'm doing things my way. I'm in control of my workplaces. I'm in control of my hours. I'm able to give the importance to my family that they deserve. So it's this real need to be in control of my work environment and to feel very happy in that by being able to be very diverse in my work. So as a 1099 CRNA, that is what I gained. And I loved it so much that along the way, over the years, I have always taught other CRNAs how I went about doing it. You know, they all come up, how are you doing this 1099 thing? How does it work? And really, I was never able to spend enough time with any one individual to get that point across. But these days I do have the time, and I have the method, and I have the means of giving people what they are really looking for, which is control of their rate, of their time. So I put together a lesson in what happens when you are W2, like I was, and you evolve into 1099. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and share screen so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. So let's do this. Awesome. Okay, so I'm just going to swap displays. Swap. There we go. Looks so much better. Good. Okay. Well, welcome. So this is my presentation to you, and it's the top 3 keys to 1099 success for CRNAs. Really, there's a way to go about making this transition so that you can really maintain tight control. You want to have a great budget. You want to continue to have a great life. You want to do all this without any unhappiness at all. You don't want to burn bridges, you know, you just want a good means of making this transformation in your life. So that's what my specialty is. I believe that the best way for CRNAs to have balance professionally and personally is to be 1099. And I'll tell you a little bit more about that. The fact is, when I first became 1099 and I started working in all these different locations and among a lot of W2 CRNAs, as I looked around, they didn't have any idea if I was like the new kid on the block that was a W2 or not 1099. And it really didn't matter. We had that camaraderie together that you always develop as one CRNA working with another CRNA. So, you know, life is good no matter, you know, once you get to work, you know, the rooms are all the same. It doesn't matter where you're working, pretty much, because we understand our safety mechanisms, our little mnemonics, all the things that we've learned as a CRNA, we bring those to the table as a 1099 CRNA. And what that does for us is it elevates us inside. It makes us feel lighter. We're in control now. We're in the driver's seat. Nobody is telling us where to work. Nobody is telling us what room to go to. Nobody is telling us what day to work. Nobody is saying, oh, you can't get that vacation day off. So if this is something that entices you, because let me tell you, from my heart, it enticed me. I could feel the difference when I walked into work as a W2, as a 1099. It was so different from that when I was a W2. As a W2, I felt pretty bummed out. I felt exhausted, and I just wanted freedom. And I did meet some of these 1099ers. I met them basically on the way out the door at 3 o'clock. And I was like, how are they getting this fantastic freedom? And I felt really indentured at that time. And people said, go ahead, you can, if you really want to do this, you can make this change. But I was only out of school for 6 months when, you know, it really came to me that the way that I could be in control of my schedule and in control of my life, and that I could focus on me now, was I was going to have to face this fearful time of transition. And as we know, you know, transitional times are scary. They feel like soft shifting sand. So that's why you do have me. So I am the mentor for 1099 CRNAs, for aspiring 1099 CRNAs, and even CRNAs who've been 1099 for a long time, but for various reasons are not getting that balance. And that does happen. So if you want this to be an easy transition, then just hang with me for a few minutes. You can get this lifestyle, the income, you can get this feeling of freedom that I have and that so many other 1099 CRNAs have. So do what you need to do to situate yourself just for a few minutes. And in about 20 minutes, you'll hear the whole story of how I came to successfully move through that time as a W-2 into 1099 and what happened. So I do know that the best way for you to get this done is to have a roadmap. This is something I didn't have, and it put me at a big disadvantage. It's so nice when you have a roadmap with steps and you know what the pitfalls, you know what to look for. So, you know, if you're like, I have researched and researched, but it's hard to research exactly all the answers to your particular situation. Everyone is unique, right? It's just like our patients. So this should take a little bit of time, but it'll save you a lot of research that you would do and maybe not even actually find the answers you're seeking. So I'm going to show you how to become a financially savvy 1099 CRNA. And I'm going to show you how rewarding it is, because really and truly, there is no better life than that of a 1099 CRNA. We're making great money. We're attending to our health needs. We're taking the time to work out, to go cycling, you know, and we're maintaining a budget. It's just that transition time. That is the time that you really need some backup. So I go through and I'm going to tell you about some negotiation strategies. I'm going to tell you about how to go about actually making these steps and how I transitioned. I created the 1099 CRNA Success Academy to help me provide this information to you. Back in the day, I lived on a sailboat for 22 years. And that's really why I was originally 1099 as a registered nurse. So even when I graduated from Medical University of South Carolina in Charleston, we sailed this boat to Tampa, where I worked at Tampa General. And then we sailed around to West Palm Beach. And everywhere that I worked, I noticed that the W-2 people were so burnt out. And I was really one of them. I didn't recognize it at the time, but everyone was giving up, you know, oh, Johnny's special game, or Sally's play that she's in that I'd love to see, or my daughter is going for her bridal dress fitting. I heard it all. And, you know, but the people were told, no, you can't go. Sorry, you know, we got to just suck it up. Here we are. And that's true a lot of times, right? As a W-2, because you're part of that W-2 team, which is good. I mean, that's fine, but it's fine while you're in there. But the regret and the guilt that I would feel when I was leaving, knowing that I had other options. So that's what got me thinking, what can I do? What do I need to do? Everybody acted like, you know, too bad, you know, so sad. And then I met the 1099 CRNAs that came to shore up our staff. And having lunch with these people was the best thing that I ever did. They were very lighthearted. They were very excited. They told me about their 1099 positions. They told me about their schedule. They let me know that there's plenty of 1099 work out there. And if once you credential, you are gonna be working. So it's very steady. So I just realized listening to them, they spoke to me. They spoke to how I was feeling, and I knew it was right. That if I were to stay, that I was giving up on myself and my family. So I knew that it was a beset upon me that I had to figure out how to become a 1099 CRNA. And there is no doubt I was so much happier. I took a leap of faith. It was at a very stressful time in my life. I had only been out of school for 6 months, but I wanted the flexible schedule, the maximum pay, the lower tax burden, and plenty of time off. I wanted to make my own schedule was really my number one thing. And so if you are feeling this way, if you need me time when you need it, then type yes. And I really appreciate that because, I love to hear the feedback, because it's so touching to our heart to have this great career, but also to have freedom. And we wonder, how do we do this? Well, the first key to success is you need to know that when you're 1099, you will have complete control of your lifestyle and a lot more money, And what happened for me is I had this epiphany. I realized 1099 life was great, but I had to endure the W2 reality shock. And I think because I was fresh and new, that I wasn't afraid of making the change. I was used to enduring a lot of change, right? So going from a student anesthetist to a CRNA, I wasn't business savvy at all. But let me tell you what I did have. I had a mentor, and she had an action plan, and I followed it. And it is the same action plan, and I thank her so much. It's the same concept that I teach to CRNAs who take the 1099 Freedom Masterclass. So the key concept, one of the key concepts is you don't pay taxes on your business expenses. You're paying all these things that you normally pay, but now you're taking these huge deductions, depreciation deductions, internet, phone, some of your benefits, especially health insurance, auto expenses, your furnishings for your office, but it's not even so much the money because the money is way better. But it was that feeling of powerlessness that I had as a W2, the bummer of showing up day after day after day, of giving myself over to the whims of somebody who was going to manage my day in a place that I felt like I had to be. At that time, I had a stipend that I was paying back. And, so I was enduring the required call, the come back the day after call if the staffing required it. This exhausting schedule that I was on. I had a terrible lack of autonomy. So I also felt kind of like I was being put down along the way. The other CRNAs were there longer, so they're competing for vacation time and not saying real nice things to each other. It really made me feel lonely. It made me feel like, not only was I not getting paid what I was worth, I was feeling like a worker bee. I didn't like the scenario where I was in the ACT model and the docs were sitting there while I was doing all of the work. There was really no compassion for lunchtime and breaks. And, it just all came together. And I just took the reins and said, I have got to pay attention to these red danger signals. So I did. And I knew I was afraid, but I did not let it rule me. And I'm asking you to think of this as a way, it's kind of like moving through an area that is actually safe and it's secure, but you just aren't sure what comes on the other side of it. Even if I were to tell you it is always safe and secure on the other side, you still have to make that voyage through. But I'm going to tell you, I have helped over 600 CRNAs make this transition with great joy. I give them mentorship as they need, as often as they need in a year. They get a membership and I help them through whatever it is. Is it the challenge of locating the work in their area? Is it the challenge of setting up their budget so that the money is coming out of the proper account so they can really deduct it seamlessly? Is it helping them understand their taxation? Is it teaching them negotiation and their value? So what is it that it takes? So But obviously these are the benefits. These are the benefits that you'll get of being 1099. You're going to work a lot less, earn more. You'll maximize your retirement savings, your college savings, your benefits. I can't tell you how much more money I am putting into retirement than I ever could have as a W-2. It's about three times as much. So, but we'll talk about that. So the second key to success is the transition actually complicated? No, that is the joy. It's actually not that complicated. It has a lot to do with having a mentor. It has a lot to do with following a roadmap. But when you have that, it's very smooth. It's really seamless. And all of a sudden, you're looking at this great life you're having, and you're like, I would never change this. So you might wonder, where are these 1099 jobs? If they're not in the ads, I don't see them. I help you find them. I've developed a system that has helped so many people find locations all around them. And I can help you as well. You just have to know what to look for. And it's a multi-step process, but it is a process, and you begin it, you work through it, and boom, you got more work than you know what to do with. You wish you could clone yourself, which is kind of a joy, right? That gives you more leverage in your negotiation. It makes everything better. And what about your budget? What about if you're the primary breadwinner? Well, you could save. There's nothing wrong with that. But really and truly, to me, a lot of people are doing it in a way where they're maintaining some part-time W-2, transitioning to 1099. I think that's fine. I don't think it gives you the leverage that you need in negotiation. So I really think the best way is to look at your contract and make a timeline. And I help you find the job. Then at that point, that's when you can give notice. And then you work through the system, and you're able to start your 1099 at the time that you end your W-2. A lot of people give themselves a couple of weeks just to say, hooray, and really enjoy some time. So, but I have to tell you, my aha moment came when my mentor said, look, I was bumming out, oh man, I got to pay for my own benefits. And she's like, look, your benefits are the best thing that ever happened to you as a 1099 CRNA. Paying for your own benefits is your portability from job to job, and you don't have to be beholden to anybody. You go find the work in the places that you enjoy. It is out there. So I took her word for it, and she was right. So it's just stuff like that. When you're aware of key concepts, ideas that maybe you haven't thought of, which there's no way you can. If you've always been W-2, there's really no way you can see the 1099 world very easily, because you're kind of trapped in this Monday through Friday or whatever your schedule is with call. And it's very difficult to look outside of that unless you have some help, somebody who hands you the periscope and says, look over there, and points you in the right direction. So a lot of people wonder, is there work? Oh my God, the work is unlimited. Speak with some of my prior students, my prior enrollees that are full-fledged CRNAs and have been for years. Some near retirement, some brand new CRNAs, some right in the middle. But the fact is, they don't have to worry about 1099 work. There is a ton of work out there for us, and it's such a blessing. We're so fortunate. We are scarce and we are excellent. So we're a commodity. So that's why there's steady work. And it takes 3 months to get credentialed. So guess what? People can't just, fill positions right and left with whoever. You are not expendable. And so when you credential at a 1099 job, they're counting on you. You've got to show up, and it's very steady. So a common myth is that you're not safe to branch out without doctors. And I know that feeling. I remember leaving, going, what am I doing? And I'm referring to anesthesiologists. But honestly, you are able, no matter what state you live in, you are able to practice independently of an anesthesiologist. All you need is any surgical physician, except for podiatrists and dentists that are not DMD. So just know you've got this. Typically, you take care of any problems in the OR before any ACT supervising physician shows up. So this is what's called imposter syndrome, and it's super common among all professions. So do some research, listen to a YouTube video about imposter syndrome. Do not let that be the thing that holds you back, because yes, you are qualified, you can do this. You're going to do great. So, and if you're worried, oh gosh, I've loved these people for years, I hate to burn bridges, no, you're not going to burn bridges. There is a method to leave your W-2, leave them quite happy, start 1099. And even if your W-2 says, we will never use you as a 1099, well, in about 6 months, when vacation, everybody's fighting over vacation time, and you give them a call and say, hey, I'm still credentialed there and I'm expanding my practice as 1099. So I'll be glad to help you guys out. So you'll be shocked at how quickly they're like, come on, come on, come on, So yes, can you have your cake and eat it too? Absolutely. Or what if you're like, I'm just too comfortable, I just can't change? Well, just know that this move might be that breath of fresh air that you've been looking for. The unexpected pleasure of new people and a new normal in your life. So after a while, everything that evolves in our life, nothing in life is supposed to be static. And what it is, we don't grow. So learn about how to do this, take this knowledge from an experienced 1099 CRNA, and just know that if all these others can make the move to 1099, there's just no doubt that you can too. And you'll do great with it. You're gonna love it. I was afraid of doing it, but as I look back, it was only for a brief period of time, and I made the changes. I followed my mentor's guidebook, and I just have had the best life. And so I am inspired to teach other CRNAs how to do this and how to really capture and control their world, and you can earn more money and be in control of your schedule, all the good things that come with it. So you could either try to figure everything out on your own, which some people do, but they always have these moments of terror. Is this right? Is this, and it's so nice to have a mentor. So I always say, no matter what you do, whether you take my class or not, get help from someone who has already done this. But I do have the 1099 CRNA Freedom Masterclass worth 28 Class A credits. It is accredited that way because it is a very rare practice management course. And so what it does is it teaches you how to get out there, do all different types of work locations, and really learn to promote yourself and promote what CRNAs are capable of. So it's a wonderful thing. This course has boosted so many CRNAs to roles of leadership that they would have never had the opportunity to have as a W-2. And I'm really proud of that. And then these people have changed their lives. They're telling me every day, I cannot believe that I just made $350,000 last year. I had no idea. Or somebody who's part-time, I just finished making $250,000. Thank God I took your class. I saved what I needed to save, and I'm not being slapped in the face with any surprises. And that is a big part. There's a lot of pitfalls that are out there during this transition. So you do get a lot of value from the class. So if you feel like you're not getting paid what you ought to be, and you can't get time off with your family, and you're not maxing out those retirement contributions, well, that's what you will learn in this class, how to accomplish all of these things so that you can just do this very smoothly. So I wanted to share with you what one of my enrollees had to say.
Hi, everybody. My name is Tim's daughter. I'm a CRNA, and I recently took Alesia's Masterclass for the 1099 CRNA Success Group. I've been a CRNA for almost 7 years. W2 that entire time. I recently switched to 1099, and honestly, I couldn't have done it without Alesia's help. Her mentorship has been, just more than what I could have asked for throughout this whole process. of my transition to 1099. I was fortunate enough to meet her and get into the first class, the beta class, and she's just gone above and beyond the entire time to answer any questions I could have had, offer her guidance, give her input. She was just there for me all the time, anytime I needed her, because I just had so many questions, going from W2 to 1099, so much to learn, things you got to think about, things you have to take care of that as a W2 employee, you just don't need to worry about any of those things. However, when you become 1099 and start your own business, whether it's taxes or how to set up your LLC or just any number of things, just so many things I just never thought of before. It's been a tremendous learning experience for me, kind of a crash course in the past 3 months. But Alicia's been such a big help, and then of course the group and getting everybody else has been such, it's been a real blessing. Just help me out. I just can't imagine trying to do it on my own without that expertise and that mentorship that she provides. With almost 20 years of experience herself as a 1099, not much she hasn't done and seen already. So, I would highly recommend this class to anyone who's thinking about becoming a 1099. I'm a few months in now, and really glad that I made the transition. And so, 5 stars. This has been great.
Thank you.
Couldn't recommend her any higher. So, okay.
So nice. Oh my gosh. So what do you get? What do you get when you take the class? Well, first of all, don't let the tuition number scare you, because it just so happens that right now we are having a Thanksgiving special, but I'll get into that. There's a lot that goes into this class. You've got almost 20. First of all, you've got 10 units, and then you have about 10 speakers altogether. But you need those. They talk to you about things like negotiation and your value. That would be Jan Menino. And just a multitude of other speakers talking to you about health insurance, life, disability, malpractice insurance. There was so much to that I had no idea of until I brought in these professionals, CPAs, financial advisors. So we have them all here in the class for you, and they're available to you in our special Freedom Masterclass educational Facebook group. And so whenever you have questions, you just put it in that group or reach out to me and we set up an appointment. But you'll learn all the bonus modules about the reports and bookkeeping, countering commingling of funds, which is very important not to mix your personal and your business. And one of the challenging things people tend to have trouble with, but I teach you a great workaround for that. And also setting up an office-based practice. I give the intro to that, and then I actually have another course called Business of Anesthesia for CRNAs. So you're welcome to take that as a 31 Class A credit practice management course as well. And what it does is it teaches you all about the life of CRNAs that have set up contracts with different facilities or set up like aesthetics practices or ketamine practices, all these different things, IV infusion practices, and you get to hear how they did it. They're sharing exactly what they did to get going with you. And then they talk about how they're doing financially now, which is actually phenomenal. So lots of opportunities for professional growth here, and lots of opportunities for you to have personal growth and me time. Go get yourself as fit as you ever wanted to be. Spend that time with your kids that you feel like you should. We are running these specials, and in the success community that we're on right now, you will see the links to each of these specials. So feel free to join us and get a really good deal and get a year membership and also a year of mentorship. So if all you learned was how to set up the benefits and the budgets, setting up your business and all the nuances, the bookkeeping, the tax organization, that's all you got, would it be worth it? Or if I helped you make it through that anxiety portion of getting started, getting moving, and getting the new position, that fear that there is not enough work because you've got somebody to help you, would that be worth it? And if I could help reduce that stress and the time, I mean, we need a shortcut as CRNAs, right? Please, we need a shortcut. So when creating this program, I had two choices. And one, I could have charged a really low price and given this to everybody. And I did think about that, but I really wanted to personally give attention. So what would you rather have? One-on-one mentorship or just a flat course? So, I mean, think about it to yourself. What is it worth to change your whole life so that you are in control of it? So you can see why this is a fantastic deal. This deal will get you to the other side and looking back and going, best thing I ever did. And I hear this over and over again. So enroll before November 29th, and you will get this deal as well. So, you know, there are limited slots, however, and so I'm letting you know I only take 20 enrollees each month because I do spend a lot of time with mentorship, and there's just not enough time to have more than that and really do a great job. So utilize these coupons that we've presented to you and click the enrollment link and make a huge change in your life. So I'm going to stay on Facebook, and you can either message me or you can place message in the comments. Either way is fine. I'm going to stop sharing screen. It's just such a joy to bring this information to y'all. This is a dream come true for me to help CRNAs get control of their life and move ahead with what really rocks them, what really makes them feel great. And so let me help you get there. I'll be glad to do it. And I'm honored that you guys came tonight to listen. So I hope y'all have a good evening and a beautiful Thanksgiving. I'll talk to y'all soon.